We're here today because we have filed charges against this Letitia James. We will hold you accountable. You're next. Get ready. It's over. It ends, and we're coming after you.
This is a major follow-up in a story first broken by The Angle. High-profile attorney Abbe Lowell is the lawyer representing New York Attorney General Letitia James. And today, he sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi arguing the Department of Justice should reject a request to prosecute James over allegations of mortgage fraud. He says the criminal referral against James is improper political retribution and lacks any credible foundation. In the letter, he said, quote, "The stunning hypocrisy of President Trump's complaint that the Justice Department had been politicized and weaponized against him is laid bare as he and others in his administration are now asking you to undertake the very same practice." He sent this letter after the Federal Housing Finance Agency referred Letitia James for potential criminal prosecution over alleged mortgage fraud, something James strongly denies.
My response is it's baseless. Listen, Donald Trump is on a revenge tour, and he finally got up to the J's. And so it's my time. And so the allegations are baseless. I'm not going to litigate them in the media. We will respond at the appropriate time in the appropriate fashion. I just want all of you to know that I, again, stand up each and every day to defend the rule of law and the Constitution, and to do my job without fear and or without favor.
Officials within the Trump administration say differently. They accuse James of using falsified records related to property she owns to receive favorable loan terms. And while her attorney is accusing the Trump administration of weaponizing the DOJ, some legal analysts and many Republicans question James's use of the justice system. Lowell is asking the DOJ for a quick response to his letter requesting they reject the criminal referral against James alleging mortgage fraud.
It's not the Trump administration at war with this James. It's me bringing her to accountability and justice. This is what I do. I love to solve puzzles. I am not part of the Trump administration, and I don't give a what people say about the Trump administration being at war with this James. This is me, Sammy Antar, former Crazy Eddie CFO, convicted felon, now a forensic accounting investigator. That's what I do now, and I like doing what I do. I like solving puzzles. Everything that I've written about, everything that I've spoken about is in the public record. I don't know how the wheels of justice will turn, and to be frank, I don't care as long as I'm right. Okay, if they fail to convict her, it's their humiliation and their embarrassment. It's not mine, because I documented everything that I did, and I stand by everything I did. I did this on my own time, my own dime. I took all kinds of risks doing it, from retaliation to libel risks to all reputational risks. I took all kinds of risks. In 2023, August of 2023, Letitia James purchased another property in Norfolk, Virginia, 604 Sterling Street. Now, on that property, there was a mortgage that she needed to do to finance that property. The Trump trial was coming up. This is August 2023. The Trump trial was in September 2023. So she signed a power of attorney appointing her relative to close on the property. Now, in the power of attorney, it says, these are her words, notarized, and they're in the property records. I hereby declare that I intend to occupy this property as my primary residence. Her words. Now, she's moving to Virginia while she's doing the Trump case. First of all, if you move to Virginia, you're automatically out of office. The second part of it is her relative subsequently closed on the property. She gave the relative full power of attorney. But the mortgage language says that her and her relative have to occupy that property as their primary residence, okay, within 60 days. At least Tish James never did. As far as the other relative, I don't know, but that other relative did not file for a homestead exemption, which is a protection afforded to homeowners in Virginia from creditors. In either case, both had to occupy that property, which they didn't. This allowed her to con the lenders into getting favorable terms based on the fact that that the two borrowers together were going to occupy that property as their primary residence. What happened was, on every mortgage since 2001 to 2021, she has claimed that the property has 4 or less units. Okay? On every mortgage, her signature, not mine. The certificate of occupancy that exists today and existed when she signed those mortgages says it's supposed to be 5 units. You get favorable mortgage terms when it's 1 or 4 units, because it's considered residential, versus 5 or more units, which is considered commercial. Now, somebody had complained, I don't know if it was one or several individuals, but there were about 4 or 5 complaints on the DOB's website saying that, she's not conforming to the certificate of occupancy.
Now, it turns out that Letitia James should have been paying a bit more attention to her. Well, she's a slumlord, it looks like. She owns a townhouse, has owned it for a number of years, and has racked up all kinds of complaints. And these are very serious complaints. Bed bugs, all right? That's horrific. Also, peeling paint. That's also it's a big deal. Now, if you don't think that's a big deal, right? Bed bugs, peeling paint, doesn't everybody No. Actually, she went around bragging about a settlement that she achieved from a landlord, right? Attorney General secures $6.5 million from one of New York City's worst landlords. Interesting. All right, now remember that. It was only on her website, by the way. You had to go looking for it. This is the former U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, all right? Damian Williams is a guy with a lot of ambition. He also was good friends with Merrick Garland, our least favorite Attorney General ever. So bed bugs and peeling paint, it is a very big deal. I mean, they made a federal case out of it for that firm that got sued for $6.5 million.
Millions of people face health threats from environmental hazards in the home, including many New Yorkers. One key problem is lead paint in older buildings. Lead is toxic, especially to children, and when young kids breathe lead dust or put peeling lead paint in their mouths, they can face lifelong health consequences, like neurological problems and learning disabilities.
Wow. So that could be happening to the children who live in Letitia James's building. And bed bugs? Bed bugs too. What about that, Mr. U.S. Attorney?
Other unsafe housing conditions, like mold growing on walls or uncontrolled pests, can also impact tenants' health.
Pests, bed bugs. This is a federal case. This is a huge deal. And it's in addition to a lot of other irregularities that we'll get to. Tell me a little bit more there, U.S. Attorney Williams.
I am proud to announce today that this office, with our federal partners at the EPA, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and HUD Office of the Inspector General, joined by the New York State Attorney General.
Joined by the New York State Attorney General. The New York State Attorney General is part of this, right? Part of the case about the pests and about the peeling paint. But she's not there for some reason. One more.
Has settled a lawsuit against a major New York City landlord, Wilmore Management, LLC.
Well, that's the thing that Letitia James was bragging about on her website, but she did not go to the press conference. Why is that?
Well, it's really interesting because this is being blown up all over the place. And, with Letitia James, these people just merely project to people, against people, what they are doing. They blame them, like Donald Trump, when in fact they are doing it in the background. And this fraud that happens, if the fraud bubbles up and there's documentation, there's records showing that she has committed fraud, and I know there are allegations, but if these ring true, then it's just going to expose something that's going on the inside of the banking system, because a lot of people don't realize the mortgage fraud going on against the people. So we've got bad actors that are such as Letitia James, who's committed all this fraud. How does that even happen? I mean, how does that even get allowed? This has been going on for over 2 decades with this lady. And it seems that she, touts the law if she doesn't follow it herself, it's rules for thee and not for me.
Let me ask about, how those consequences could cascade. When people commit mortgage fraud, is it typically just to get better rates on their money?
I think obviously people try to dip into doing things that are considered illegal, right? And I was in property management for 26 years. That's what I did. So I dived into a lot of the things that were going on in the background. And I'm really surprised. I was the HUD director of my company before I got into the fight for our children and got into this whole thing about systemic bank fraud. But we have people, again, on both sides of the spectrum. Letitia, here she is, doing this to benefit herself, when we have people suffering right now due to actual mortgage fraud going on by the banks themselves. So it seems to be like there's bank fraud going on with the actual banks. We've got people in the system that are committing fraud, and it's just like nobody cares. They just allow these things to take place, and the projection is getting very old from these people who continue to come against us in the system. And so I'm always telling people that it's time that we get to the truth, and the truth is going to set us free. And there is so much fraud going on both sides. So I think
on the lender and the borrower side. And I get that there's a lot of advocacy around that lender fraud, and perhaps that's where a lot of the focus is on enforcement. But here, this is on the borrower side.
What is your response? Comment below. That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe. Be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.